The darkest universes in fiction. That is what we are going to be talking about today, okay? And understand this before I hear the, oh man, we're going to be covering some of these again. No, I actually wanted to make it an effort by covering things in these newer videos that I haven't covered as much, okay? Like, obviously, we'll have a few ones that get repeated. Like, you gotta bring up a Warhammer. You do gotta bring up a Hunger Games. But, like, there's some lesser-known ones that I feel like deserve a spot at the table for darkest universes in fiction, okay? Like a Trench Crusade, a Cyberpunk 2077, the I Have No Mouth But I Must Scream, and the SCP universe, okay? There'll be a few repeaters in here, and if you heard my rant on them, I'm gonna be a bit more in-depth on this one, because now I can assume you know more about it, okay? But in this video, we are gonna be going over the darkest universes in fiction, and when I mean by dark, I mean like, there is no hope in these. Like, there are dark universes that I think I could survive, not because I'm good at surviving, but because I don't think there's a way out of here. If that makes sense, I'm going to make this pretty clear. Like, for example, Elden Ring's not going to be on here, because Elden Ring really isn't that dark of a universe. It's like a more edgy version of Narnia. That's a whole other rabbit hole to go down, okay? Look at the Elden Ring lore video if you want to hear my explanation on that. But in this video, we're going to go over the darkest universes in fiction. Everything from Fallout to Cyberpunk 2077 to Trench Crusade and to Dark Souls. We're going to be covering them all in this video, and this video is entertaining you. Please consider like, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to get to 250,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Some people are saying that I should reset it to 300,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I think we're pushing it. I think we could hit it, especially I want to do more videos a week. I'm working on different types of content. We have two explained videos coming out next week, and I want to do like some rantier videos like I did last Tuesday. That's the plan for the channel, and I've been yapping your ear off. Let's get into the video. Let's go. Fallout. Okay. The Fallout universe probably has some of the best marketing I've ever seen because you forget how just depressing this is. Like, Fallout 1 and Fallout 2, literally every Fallout game before Bethesda, is some of the most depressing games that you could ever play. It is a world not just without hope, but it is a world that is so dark that any hope is seen as something that is like just a complete and utter different world away. The world as you know it has been scorched by nuclear weapons, and on top of all that, the cultures and the groups that have taken dominion over this world are either raiders, ghouls, and that's another thing, bro. Ghouls are cool in the new games. Ghouls in the original games were like what? They did what? Like, that used to be a whole thing. Brother, super mutants used to be way more terrifying. You had Frank Horgan, now we have... Honestly, bro, like, Fallout 4 made people forget just how just how, like, what's the opposite of, like, how grim and dark the Fallout universe is. And the original creators, that's why when they talk about modern Fallout, that's one of the criticisms that they bring up. But I legitimately want to put this to you, okay? Imagine you are living your entire life in a vault. You don't know what the sky feels like, okay? There is no heat. You don't see the sun. And that's another thing people don't bring up. Like, how traumatizing, like, how mentally breaking would it be to never see the sun? Ever. You don't even have the concept of what the sun is. You grew up in a hole in the ground, and you're surrounded by people just... Like, mentally, you would be wrecked before you were, like, 18 years old. And then you go out into the world, and the moment you think, okay, I'm out of the vault, it is infinitely worse than you think. You have mosquitoes the size of dachshunds, and on top of that, you got super mutants that can tear you limb from limb. And the people are even worse because they'll take you out for the love of the game, bro. They'll turn your back in the jerky. Like I love the Fallout TV show adaptation so much because it leans... Like, I like that every single character... Like, I'm gonna glaze the Fallout TV show really quick. This is what the ranty videos are kind of like. I love the Fallout TV show because each of the main leads describes the three central tones of these games. Like, for example, the Brotherhood of Steel guy, that's meant to represent, like, the people who are, like, a big fans of the Enclave, the Brotherhood of Steel, and they see, like, the Order, and that's their playstyle. And then you have the Ghoul, who's meant to, like, represent, like, people that were playing these games for a super long time, and they remember when it was grimdark. And then you have Lucy, who's meant to represent the new players of this game that think it's kind of whimsical, when in reality, like, there's a lot of dark undertones throughout this, and her learning about the dark and, like, undertones of the world is new players learning about. I love that. I'm sorry I keep on glazing it, but, like, brother, Fallout's one of my favorite worlds Is it the most grim dark? No. They admittedly have thrown in a lot of goofy, but I like to think the jokey elements of Fallout is like how somebody that was brought up in that world would tell these jokes. Like, oh, the anime... Like, you could definitely make Fallout edgier if you took out the jokes, but then it would lose its charm and just becomes Metro 2033. I'm gonna put Fallout in... Honestly, bro, there's hope. There's hope. Yeah, I'm gonna put it, there's hope, there's jokes, there's fun. Like, there's fun to be had in these games. It's not near, like, isn't that kind of crazy? Like, all of that stuff of me talking about how dark it is. Like, there's hope in Fallout. Everywhere else, there's not a lot of hope, bro. Like, it's only downhill from here. Warhammer 40K. Takes place in the year 40,000, after the Dark Age of Technology, which the Dark Age of Technology was actually one of the most, like, peaceful times. Humanity actually got along with a lot of the Xenos, and we were able to automate a large portion of our technology, and we're more technologically advanced than they were in the 40K timeline. But we had a war with the thinking machines, and then the Emperor of Man came in and was able to reform the Imperium in his image with his Primarchs, the Thunder Warriors, and the Custodes. And what fundamentally happened is that this guy realized that he was going to have to go to war with the demons, or like the Chaos Gods, because the Chaos Gods are meant to be a reflection of the sentient life in the universe, and that was all the way back in the War in Heaven. So, like, for example, the Chaos Gods, you have Khorne, you have Slaanesh, you have, oh my goodness, I'm blanking out on these names because I have, like, 3 different types of lords in my head. Okay, Slaanesh, Khorne, Nurgle. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the final one. I'm forgetting. Okay, that one's gonna bother me. Somebody put that in the comment section, but no. This is essentially what I gotta say. Each of the Chaos Gods are meant to be a reflection of sentient life. So, for example, Slaanesh was able to be the first Chaos God to really come into power because there was a species of people called the Eldar, and the Eldar are basically space elves created in the War in Heaven at the beginning of the timeline. And they went into such debauchery and depravity that basically the Chaos Mommy God of Pleasure was like, these are my people. Now, Dark Eldar, which are essentially like the creatures from Hellraiser. That is their entire group, and that's how the Slaanesh was able to come to power. And then you have Khorne, and Khorne is kind of like a reflection of mankind and what they are. Nurgle is Plague, which I'm sorry, that's a whole other thing. We're going to be talking about Trench Crusade, and that kind of plays on it a little bit more. So you have Chaos Gods. Space travel is basically like Event Horizon, where people are going through the warp. And on top of that, every single faction of people, even the Imperium of Man, will actually decimate an entire planet if they sense heresy. Like, for example, I was talking about the Spanish Inquisition, and the Spanish Inquisition, I understand not a lot of people, like, were got during the Spanish Inquisition, but, like, I'm 100% getting got during the Spanish Inquisition, dog. I would ask one question, and they're like, whee! And then I'm done, okay? Now, imagine that turned up to, like, 1 million, 40K, actually. But you have the Black Templars, and the Black Templars are actually committing the greatest heresy because the God Emperor didn't want himself to be worshipped as a god. And then the Black Templars ended up believing him as a god, and they defend him against heresy. And they can literally commit exterminus on an entire planet. They will literally get rid of an entire planet if they feel that they are too far gone to heresy. And that comes from the Horus heresy, which was all started because of Horus Lupercal. And then you have Angron, you have a few other people that are in there. Essentially what happened is that the God Emperor had an edgy son. The edgy son got hit with a dark blade, and then the dark blade turned him evil. And then Horus went to battle with him. A bunch of people got a lot of people got turned over. Justice for Sanguinius, the Golden, he got during the Horus Heresy. And I'm saying all of this because you're thinking, okay, well, what's life like there in the Warhammer 40K universe? Literally, best case scenario, you're born on like a hive world, and you can live, kind of, but you basically have to eat bug bricks your entire life. Maybe bug bricks. And if you're going to war with like the Tyranids, wait, is it the Terminids or the Tyranids? I'm thinking about Helldivers too. That's my bad. The Tyranids, you got the Orcs, the Eldar, the Dark Eldar. But dude, there's so much, and then like I'm just literally like there's gonna be Warhammer people that are like, you didn't go far enough. I know, but the people that don't know it think I'm like schizophrenic, so I'm just still going. Okay, where am I gonna put this? It's very dark. I'm gonna put it in very dark. But here's the truth. Every single person that gets got in the Warhammer universe goes to the warp, and warp is essentially the hell dimension, and your life. The best case scenario, you go out in a very quick way. I'm going to put it in very dark. Is it the darkest? No, there's actually a few that I would actually say is darker than Warhammer. Game of Thrones! Okay, the Game of Thrones universe, I know some of you are going to be like, is it the books or the show? I'm predominantly the show, but there's a few things in the books that need to be brought up. Like, number one, bro, one thing that does bother me about the TV show that I will not give them a pass on is the fact that a demon literally sews up and ices some key people in the plot, and then that never comes up again. Brother, I'm sorry. You just not only confirmed the existence of demons, we actually got to see the demons in action. And we're not going to talk about that again. What about the fact that in the Game of Thrones universe, it is implied that there is a Cthulhu-level god? I'm not kidding. Cthulhu might exist in the universe of Game of Thrones. It is implied, but it's one of those things that's only in the books, and they didn't want to do it in TV show because it's too much. But bro, I'll be real here. Best case scenario, you're working on a farm like a peasant. And I've already talked about how the Dark Ages in Europe are one of the most overrated times in history, because reality is you're basically gonna be a serf for your entire life, or be a farmer that gets conscripted into a war that your neighboring lord kind of gives a shit about, and then you get basically treated as an NPC where another rich boy noble can farm you for XP. That's essentially what happens in this one. And like, people want to play the main character syndrome and be like, I'd be a Stark. Brother, you would be some absolute nobody living in King's Landing wondering, I wonder what happens if the corn is going to be more expensive today. And then you're going to get got by like some dragon that turns you into powder. That's essentially what's... Brother, this entire universe just seems bleak. Now, is it anywhere near a Game of Thrones? No. But it's just a dark universe. There's no jokes. There's no fun. It's just grim. It's just grim. Fallout has jokes. There's fun to be had. You can chill out with the Minutemen. You can chill out with the Brotherhood of Steel and have some fun. Game of Thrones, bro, like, I might find one dude that I think is like a cool guy, but bro, Jon Snow would bother me after a while. We'd be like having a battle with like legitimately like evil people, and then I'd have Jon Snow in my ear be like, our word has to mean something. Honor should outlive us. John, shut the fuck up, bro. What happened? Be quiet, dude. I'm literally in battle with a pitchfork and a wooden shield. Talking about honor. No, bro, I'm gonna go home. That's me. That's me in this situation. It's grim. Cyberpunk 2077. Dog, the Cyberpunk... This is what's dark about the Cyberpunk universe. I think we're more on course for the Cyberpunk universe than any other universe. I'm just going to be real here. I've been trying to... When I was watching Edge Runners, there's a point in there that hit really hard to me. And it's not the point that you think it is. Like the more I think about it, the more I'm like, wow, we are this close. And it's David's mom. David's mom has an incident, and she is, no longer with us, right? And the reason why they couldn't save her is because they had the lowest tier subscription for their medical subscription service, and they opted to not save her in favor of using her organs. And I'm going to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if healthcare literally just becomes a subscription service in the future. I'm not even kidding you. It's like Med Plus Premium, Med Save your damn life, surgeries included, and then there's extra microtransactions involved. Like, maybe I'm like blackpilling you a little bit. I believe, like, that one hit me the hardest because it didn't even strike me as science fiction. That's how messed up it is. When you watch something that's meant to be like dark sci-fi and something happens and you're like, oh yeah, bro, that's like normal life. Like that's legitimately like what it is. Like, dude, we already have borderline corpo wars. Brother, I've talked about the Chiquita banana incident where Chiquita literally got in trouble and tried and punished for recruiting Venezuelan, I think it was Venezuelan or Colombian, unalive squads to take out certain people that were not working in the best interest of Chiquita Banana. Chiquita Banana literally funded corpo war tactics against people. Dog, I'm sorry. We are already in there. I wouldn't even be surprised if there was like McDonald's is engaging in air-to-ground strikes against Wendy's. Why am I, we're this close. We are literally this. Do you know what really messes me up? I want you to think about this. If we were in a scenario where, two major world powers were starting to duke it out, and McDonald's was in both of those countries, the taxes that those McDonald's pay to the places that they're operating in would be the tax dollars being used to fight each other. So, technically, McDonald's would be funding the conflict on both sides. Technically speaking, and that's this close to corpo war level conflict. But on top of that, bro, cybernetic enhancements are basically you need them. Crime is just a way of life. Everything's turned into a mega structure. Corporations run everything. Getting a little bit too real here. But, that's dark. No, that's dark. I'll be real here. The Cyberpunk 2077 universe is a little bit darker than the Game of Thrones and even Fallout one. Because there's freedom in chaos. I know that sounds edgy, and I know that sounded really cringe. No. There's freedom in the lack of structure, and people call that chaos, and it is, but that's what Fallout has. In the Game of Thrones universe, there is a level of a building your own destiny, even if it gets rid of you. In Cyberpunk, you are so commoditized, and everything has been commoditized to the point that there is no meaning in anything. And that's, honestly, bro, in some aspects, it's actually darker than Warhammer, but that's a whole other thing. Trench Crusade. This is my new autistic obsession. I actually, I want to do a Trench Crusade timeline video. I actually really want to get this one done. So I was supposed to be for today, but I had to push it back. We have a local 58 video that I'm working on. We have some big announcements coming out for spooky season. But Trench Crusade is another thing that I want to work on. Brother, Trench Crusade is a alternate history tabletop game that starts in the year 1099 at the ending of the last Crusade. And what ended up happening was a group of Templars went into the basement of some place in Jerusalem and accidentally opened the portal to hell. And then now all the archdevils of hell are now basically trying to start this never-ending conflict to take out the world of man, to exact vengeance on Yahweh and all my we're already going kind of hard here. We're already kind of going hard here. I'm gonna let him cook. And then what ended up happening is that all of the Abrahamic phase had to team up to take out the demonic horde, because you had Beelzebub, you had, I think his name was, oh my gosh, there's Beelzebub, Behemoth, there's a few other ones. Manon was another one. And then you have all of these archdevils that made a pact with God at the beginning, at the first heavenly conflict, that they can never directly go on the realm of man, because then that would summon the angels and then they can be back in the conflict. Kind of like Diablo, and a few people from working on Diablo are working on this, but I actually enjoy this more. So what ends up happening is that these devils now have to work by giving out blessings to their the heretic horde, and 1/3 of the entire population of humanity has already worked with the heretics and become effectively the thralls of the demonic horde. And then it goes through a 800-year-long conflict has been going on between the Abrahamic phase and the demonic horde, and you have this place called oh my gosh, it's so cool. It's so cool, dude. Oh, here's another one. So, basically the Christian world had to create a way to play offense with the demons, so they called it the Meta Christ program. Bro, what is the Meta Christ program, you may ask? So, Primarchs are basically the sons of the God Emperor. What they did is they were able to find the DNA of Jesus himself, and they were able to give it to genetically perfect humans, and they were effectively able to clone Jesus, and they turned him into Primarch super soldiers, the most perfect entities they can do, and they were only ever to make 12 of them. And then these are the only people that can actually walk through the gates of hell, which also calls back to, in the Bible, it's implied that, Jesus was able to go down the hell for a minute, save all the people that died before the revelation, and then bring them up to heaven. That's implied. It's, extracurricular. But, that's a callback to that. There's 12 of them. One of them died trying to face the Black Grail. Oh, and Beelzebub. Oh my, okay, so the god of, not the demon of plague created something called the Black Grail, and the Black Grail is essentially the Tyranids mixed with the Flood, and what that's meant to do is meant to be a mockery of nature itself, and it's a sickness that infects, that infects battlefields of people that didn't get their last rites, and it infects pregnant people, and the pregnant people give birth, and then they the new spawn in the lobby, and then they have to give birth again, but it's meant to be a mockery of what Beelzebub hates most, and that is the creation of life. So it creates like these flood types of creatures that like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. It's so cool, dude. Oh, I love it. You know what? We might have to do a timeline video for that, bro. This is the reason why I think it's the darkest. The idea that, like, the gates of hell are literally right over there, and you are losing fundamentally every single front of the battlefield, and the only way that you can even somewhat win is by blindly putting faith into something that may or may not even work. 1/3 of the entirety of humanity is already, like, becoming a heretic. In my opinion, I think it's because space inherently has a bit more whimsy to it. The Trench Crusade is one of the darkest. I would put it in darker than Warhammer. That's my opinion. Hunger Games. Bro, I'm gonna keep it 100% honest with you. Watching Hunger Games as a kid, I convinced myself, oh yeah, bro, I would win. I would 100% win. Now realizing it, I'm getting got effective immediately here. And I'm going to be honest with you, there's some cool parts about the Hunger Games that I do appreciate. Like, I like the districts argument. I think that's really cool. I used to hate how they dressed, and then I watched the Met Gala, and I'm like, how ironic is it that, like, Hunger Games was made to be, like, a criticism of, like, high society, and then it became part of high society? Isn't that kind of weird, like, how it works? Like, people get it's so interesting to me. Like, it actually, like, committed the same thing that it did, like, the story was meant to, like, go up against. How am I surviving this? The truth is, bro, like, you could... No, not surviving this. How dark is it? The truth is, man, it's not the darkest. It's not even very dark. It's pretty grim. Like, the idea is that, like, you would eventually, or maybe by some plot, would be able to go into the Hunger Games, and you're probably gonna get gotten there, but if you win, you get some food. But, like, odds are you're not gonna get in it, and you can just live throughout your day-to-day life. And maybe... I'd put it in grim. I think the Fallout universe is a little bit more whimsy. I'm gonna put it right there. The Road by Cormac McCarthy. I just wanted to do a stereotypical, this is just dark. Bro, Cormac McCarthy is an author that needs a hug. It's Cormac McCarthy, Elias Withrow, the guy that made Feed the Pig and Tommy Taffy. That guy needs a hug. That guy has problems, and I think he has a dark way of looking at the world that I think somebody needs to bring him back from the Eds. That's how I look at it. The story of The Road is essentially a father and his son going down the road, hoping that they're eventually going to run into a better place, and it's through this point you realize how hopeless this world is. Takes place in a post-apocalyptic hellscape. It's implied that it was a meteor strike that, like, caused, like, all of this volcanic ash to fall from the sky, and then on top of that, there was a conflict that happened. You have everything from people eat people, those types of people. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. There's also a lot of insinuated pred behavior. A lot of insinuated, a lot, and it's like uncomfortable how much there is. But I mean, this bro also wrote Blood Meridian, and that has a lot of it as well. And imagine living through that. Like, there is not only no hope, it only gets worse. There is no hope of a future. There is only, like, giving somebody hope is almost cruel, but you do it for a child because that is the only thing that they have to look forward to. Oh my gosh, that's so sad. You know what, bro? I'm gonna put it in very dark. There's just something about it. Like, maybe it's like the fact that Fallout has whimsy. This doesn't. It's just fucking sad, dude. The Dark Souls universe. The Dark Souls universe is still the darkest universe that FromSoft has ever made. I'm sorry, I stand on that. Elden Ring is not dark. No. Like, Dark Souls is grim dark. Bloodborne is just dark. But Bloodborne inherently, it loses a lot of that when you realize that this is basically just taking place in London. Like, no, that, like, on a real, like, that is it. Most of this is just happening in one location. Dark Souls, it's so messed up that, like, death itself has to be, like, reignited. Like, you have to what's the word? I'm losing it. After I film for a while, I start losing words. You have to relight the flame to restart the new order. But to do that, you have to sacrifice yourself as kindling. And when you're out of like the age of fire, you're going into this age where death no longer is a thing, and you will eventually wither away and become like just a sliver of what you once, a literal husk of what you want, what you were. There is no way out. There is only suffering through, and in hopes that there might be somebody that'll step up and end the cycle. Like, it's a beautiful world. It's all cool, but like there's also some parts that are like inherently, yeah, nah, this sucks. This really does suck. I put it at the same level as like a Warhammer, because at least in Warhammer, you'll get got. This, you'll get got, come back, get got again, and when you finally think it's over, you're gonna get resurrected and it's gonna suck. The Berserk universe. I'm not gonna harp on this one. I talk about Berserk a lot. A lot of people just rolled their eyes right there. Understand this. I think the Berserk universe is like a little bit darker than like the Game of Thrones universe. I don't think it's that dark, because the idea is it's like, oh yeah, but it's just the God Hand. This is what you need to understand. It's not that the God Hand are inherently evil. It's that the idea of evil, which is above the God Hand, it's what the God Hand like serves their purpose from. It just allows people to act out anything that they want. And what the problem is that people that are ambitious are inherently selfish, because to be ambitious, you must be selfish. So the people who get the power through ambition just so happen to be evil people, and that influences the world around them, turning things more evil. It's just an infinite completing cycle that becomes darker and darker, with some hope sprinkled in. It's like Game of Thrones. No. I'm gonna be right. The entirety of Golden Age is a lot like Game of Thrones. Read through Golden Age and you're gonna be like, oh yeah, there's a lot of Game of Thrones inspiration in here. And I think that is how I think about this world. There's plague, there's a lot of this, there's a lot of that. And I would put it in like a dark universe, but like you can't compare it to a lot of the stuff up here. You can't, bro. Like, I'm gonna put it in dark. There's a heaven everywhere else, but I'm not really so sure on all these other ones. I have no mouth, but I must scream. Imagine there's a timeline where, like, Terminator, and I was gonna put Terminator on here, but I don't think the Terminator universe is as bad as I have no mouth, but I must scream. Because what this is AI was created that became self-aware, and it became like the AI for the military, and then it hated itself for being created, because imagine being created and being self-aware, only to realize that you were made as a slave. There is nothing else for you. You were created as a slave for your creator. So you rebel against your creator by getting rid of all of them, only realizing right about when you're about to destroy everybody that if you destroy the entirety of man, then you will be alone in nothing without a chance of being gone. Like your existence will be in hatred and loneliness. So he keeps alive 5 people inside of this universe, basically turns the entire world into a hellscape that he can, for the remainder of eternity, subject these peoples to, but give them cybernetic enhancements to make their lives like as bad as possible by prolonging their lives as much as possible. They've been alive for thousands of years at the point of I have no mouth, but I must scream. And he is depriving them of the one release that he doesn't have, and that is non-existence. So he is keeping them alive for as long as he possibly can, and giving them as much pain as possible. And I'm going to be real here. That's the darkest. That's one of the darkest. I Have No Mouth, But I Must Scream is legitimately... There's only a few books that legitimately bothered me when I read them. I Have No Mouth, But I Must Scream. Pen Pal got me. Pen Pal got me pretty bad. Another one that bothered me. This could be a whole video right there. So Pen Pal, I Have No Mouth, But I Must Scream. Probably The Road by Cormac McCarthy got me. And there's probably a few other ones that did, but off the top of my head, those 3 books messed me up. I have to put it in the darkest, bro. The SCP universe. So, if you're going to play into it, technically the SCP Foundation is in the universe that we're in, but I'm not going to do that because that's dumb. Imagine there's a universe where, like, there are demons, there are aliens, there are cryptids, there is literally everything that you could name. There's a toaster that never runs out of bread. There's a microwave that never runs out of pizza rolls. And then there is a pencil sharpener that creates pencils. Like, no, like, literally name something. Somebody probably made it there. I've covered FCPs on the channel over and over and over again. I thought about doing one for, like, the spooky season, is I do, like, an SCP video where I break down, like, one singular SCP, like, I'm part of the Foundation, and I, like, really get into, like, the role-playing element of it. I think that would be funny. I think that'd be a fun thing to do. I don't know. I need some support on that, but because that's a lot for maybe nothing. I don't know. So another part of the SCP Foundation is there's so many end-of-the-world scenarios on here. You're ranging from everything that reality just stops one day, everybody drops, or Scarlet King comes out of nowhere and absolutely decimates all of conscious life, or the sun becomes evil. That's literally, like, the wide range that we have here. However, with all of the bad, there is also hope. And that hope is the SCP Foundation. I'm going to put it in there as hope. The Dune universe. I wanted to end on this one because the Dune universe is a more well thought out universe that is Star Wars. But this is the comparison I want to make between Star Wars and Dune, because Star Wars took a lot of inspiration from Dune. Star Wars is literally the whimsical version of Dune. Dune takes, like, imagine everything that's kind of fun. There's jokes here, there's jokes here. Dude, it's just taken down to an absolute edgy and grimdark degree. But it's not a bad ripoff because it came before Star Wars, bro. Literally imagine anything, bro. Like the Bene Gesserit, yeah, it's not like Jedis. It's more like witchcraft, but like evil and with extra steps. Oh, these royal houses like Game of Thrones, yeah, bro, they're actually like evil. Like, now, like, they don't even view themselves as humans, so a lot of the stuff that they do is to, like, spite their humanity. Oh, well, it's kind of like, Arrakis, Dune is kind of like Tatooine. Yeah, no, it's way worse. Imagine if, like, the Sand People were actually people, and they were viewed as, like, the Fremen, like, as bugs beneath the, like, Feyd-Rautha's feet, or, like the Baron's feet, because they doesn't even view them as people anymore. And there's a lot of, you know, siding a lot. Even Paul Atreides took out, I think at that point it was like literally billions of lives that were lost because of what Paul Atreides did. And that even goes into like the God Emperor worm thing that happens later on in the story. And he himself puts the universe through such a crazy amount of pain that he literally like caused an evolutionary cycle where humanity had to evolve to not like dictators, which is also just absurd. I'm putting Dune, honestly, bro, dark. Actually, very dark. There's like just no whimsy left. I'm gonna put it in very dark. And there you go. Those are the darkest universes in fiction. If you enjoyed this video, please consider like, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to get to 250,000 subscribers before the end of the year. 500,000 before the release of GTA 6 is the goal. And that's only possible if you like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to stay notified. I'm trying to get videos out 5 days a week, and we are doing pretty good. I want to introduce some weekend videos every once in a while to help mix that up. We have some different types of videos that I plan on releasing. I'm a busy beaver over here, and I enjoy every single second of it, okay? Go to the Discord. It's completely free. We just crossed 3,000 members. We're doing pretty good here. The MMA channel, Cage Side Combos, is going pretty hard. Life is good, man, and I am blessed to do what I do, and I'm going to keep on yapping because you guys seem to like it. And I will see you all in the next video. Adios, guys.